been for him, we'd have made like 3 albums.
It encourages you to make something moving.
The walls are saturated with great music. You know, if these walls could sing.
Coming to you from a basement studio somewhere down under, it's the 80s Show with Australia's Retro Man.
G'day viewers, Retro Man here and welcome to the 80s Show. Now today I'll be discussing a fascinating music documentary that I just streamed on Disney Plus called If These Walls Could Sing, the Untold Story of Abbey Road Studio.
People want to come here. They want the sound of Abbey Road.
Now this documentary is directed by Mary McCartney, Paul and Linda McCartney's daughter, and it really is a look at 90 years of Abbey Road Studios. And the amazing thing is, it packs in 90 years of information in about 90 minutes. So this really has a lot to say and it runs pretty fast. Now, the fascinating thing is the Beatles recorded a lot of their great material at Abbey Road Studio. You know the album, of course, Abbey Road. You know the cover where they're walking across the road. It's pretty iconic, isn't it? They also recorded other material there over the years. So this really was a big part of the Beatles' life, recording in this studio, and they're a big part of this documentary. I mean, other artists appear as well. We have Sir Cliff Richard, we also have Elton John, Pink Floyd, and other people like Shirley Bassey. There's a great story there told about that making of that iconic Bond song, Goldfinger. That was recorded there.
Goldfinger.
And also the composer, John Williams, who gave us those magnificent music scores for Star Wars and Raiders of the Lost Ark. Well, they were actually recorded at Abbey Road Studios. So yes, it is very much a Beatles documentary, but it's also like a series of essays and little stories about all these artists that have recorded there over the years. It's kind of cut up into these little pockets of information, but the Beatles keep coming back into this. I mean, Paul McCartney actually recorded a lot of Wings material there as well, and Mary McCartney, the director of this thing, Paul's daughter, I mean, she was actually a little girl in the studio, a baby basically, when some of the Wings material were being recorded. So that's fascinating as well. So this is a real fly on the wall look at the studio, and it's a bit of a celebration of these magnificent artists that have recorded fantastic material.
It was in the forefront of one of the biggest musical changes. The smell of Abbey Road, actually the smell of fear. Am I going to mess this up?
And I must say, one of the things that really got me excited was the beginning there where they talk about 1958 and how Sir Cliff Richard actually was one of the first rock and roll stars in England, and he got in there and recorded this marvellous track called Move It, and they talk a little bit about that. And I mean, if you haven't heard Move It, or you haven't heard it for a long time, just put that record on and take a listen, because that track by Cliff Richard was recorded at Abbey Road Studios, and in some ways that song is really the first rock and roll song to come out in the UK. I mean, this was a song that made a dent there back in the late 50s.
Come on, pretty baby, let's move it and groove it.
And it kind of gave birth, Cliff Richard and the Shadows, to the Beatles in a sense. I mean, they were kind of the originators of rock and roll. So it was great to see Cliff get in there and tell his little story about recording Move It at the head of the show.
Shake a baby, shake a honey, please don't lose.
So also, guys, I must say, if you just adore the Beatles, I mean, you get your money's worth with this documentary. The Beatles come and go throughout. We get exclusive, brand new interviews with Paul and Ringo, and it really is fascinating stuff. So for those of you out there that enjoy music documentaries, I highly recommend checking out Mary McCartney's documentary, If These Walls Could Sing, the untold story of Abbey Road Studio. So check it out, guys. It's on Disney Plus, so you can stream it now. And that's all I have to say today. But as always, guys, please like, comment, and subscribe, and keep watching The 80s Show, because you will never know what is going to pop up next. It's been an absolute pleasure talking about If These Walls Could Sing, and I will see you all again very soon. But until then, guys, this is Retro Man, living the dream, 80s style. Stay gold.
Thanks for watching. Retro Man will return faster than a boomerang and just as cool as this documentary. Please subscribe, and good night, viewers.